It just came out and the situation is heating up inside the Los Angeles Chargers. Behind the scenes, things are boiling, heavy decisions are being discussed right now, and today I bring you exclusive information that few are talking about. If you're a true Bolts fan, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell, because here we follow every detail, on and off the field, of the team that may be about to change its own destiny. So hold on tight until the end of the video, because the next news could impact the playoffs, Justin Herbert's future, and even the Chargers coaching staff. The time is now. Let's go together. We start with the news that caught the NFL completely by surprise. The Miami Dolphins fired Mike McDaniel, and this decision directly and profoundly changes the entire offensive coaching market, especially when we look at the situation of the Los Angeles Chargers. Until a few days ago, many fans were already arguing that the franchise should look for a new offensive coordinator, mainly because of the way Greg Roman has been leading the offense in recent seasons. The big obstacle was simple. There wasn't a strong enough name on the market to justify an immediate change. That scenario changed today. Mike McDaniel has just finished his 4th season as head coach of the Dolphins, after spending only 1 year as offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Despite an uneven trajectory as a head coach, one thing is a consensus throughout the league. McDaniel is one of the most brilliant offensive minds in the NFL. The dismissal, although impactful, is understandable when you look at the context. In 4 seasons, he had a record of 35 wins and 33 losses, didn't win any playoff games, experienced a final campaign marked by inconsistent performances, and even had to bench Tua Tagovailoa in the final 3 games of the season. With that, McDaniel now occupies a curious space in the market. He hasn't yet proven himself as a long-term head coach, but he's also no longer seen as that untouchable young prodigy who automatically excites any franchise. And it's precisely at this point that the Chargers can see a great opportunity. In the last 2 years under Greg Roman's leadership, the Chargers' offense finished only 12th and 20th in total yards, numbers that are negatively noteworthy when you consider that the team has an MVP-level quarterback like Justin Herbert. Even taking into account injury problems, Roman repeatedly failed to build an offensive system that exploited Herbert's full potential and broadened the range of options that the quarterback's talent allows. And here's the most important point of this whole story. The problem in Miami clearly wasn't Mike McDaniel's offensive play calling. If the Chargers fall early in the playoffs, the internal and external pressure to maximize Justin Herbert's talent will grow explosively. In this scenario, McDaniel emerges as an almost ideal option to lead this offensive transformation. On the other hand, if the Chargers put together a long playoff run, Greg Roman will likely keep his job, and this discussion will momentarily take a back seat. Now the focus turns to what's happening on the field, where the situation is even more tense and decisive. Even dealing with a fracture in his left hand since Week 13, Justin Herbert has been able to endure the pain, physical limitations, and constant pressure, and still carry the Los Angeles Chargers to the playoffs. The challenge, however, increases dramatically from now on. The team will face a wild card game away from home on Sunday night against the New England Patriots, a team that finished the regular season with a 14-3 record and won 13 of its last 14 games. It's the kind of scenario that demands perfection. Maximum pressure, 0 errors. And that's precisely where the Chargers' most serious problem arises. When opponents manage to pressure the quarterback, the team simply can't find answers. Justin Herbert was tackled 54 times throughout the season, the 3rd highest number in the entire NFL. And that statistic alone raises a huge alarm. The reason is clear, and exposes the chaos experienced by the offensive line. Throughout the year, 10 different offensive linemen participated in at least 173 snaps, a direct reflection of the numerous injuries. Only Zion Johnson and Bradley Bozeman managed to surpass the 1,000 snap mark, and Johnson was the only offensive lineman to play in all 17 games of the season. According to NFL.com, this unit was simply physically decimated. Rashawn Slater was out even in the preseason. Joe Alt missed almost the entire campaign, while Mekhi Becton, Trey Pipkins, and Jamari Salyer constantly alternated between the bench and the starting lineup. The result of this: the scenario was devastating. Herbert faced 268 total pressures and 109 quick pressures, the most in the entire league. Simply put, if Justin Herbert doesn't have time to throw the ball, the Chargers shouldn't last long in the playoffs. It is in this context that the invisible but decisive factor emerges: Jim Harbaugh. According to The Athletic, the coach is a central piece in the team's response to this adverse scenario. The players themselves make clear the impact he has in the locker room. Harbaugh builds a culture of sacrifice, demands more every day, and constantly creates winning habits. Derwin James summarized this directly by stating that Harbaugh motivates not only for individual success, but for collective success, creating winning habits daily. And even with all these evident problems, the betting odds show something curious and revealing. The Chargers are only 3.5 points underdogs. This speaks volumes about the respect the league still has for Justin Herbert, the influence of Jim Harbaugh, and this team's ability to compete even in the most difficult circumstances. And just when it seems the situation has reached its limit, another important concern arises, further increasing the tension surrounding the Los Angeles Chargers. Hampton did not participate in practice and, to make matters worse, was again absent from Thursday's practice, despite all the initial optimism shown by the coaching staff throughout the week. Offensive coordinator Greg Roman himself had stated that Hampton would be involved in some way in Thursday's activities, which generated expectations among fans and analysts that the player was improving physically. However, according to CBS Sports, the reality was quite different. Hampton was officially listed as a non-participant, which completely changes the interpretation of his situation. 2 consecutive absences from practice at this point in the week are rarely a good sign, especially when it comes to a player who has been dealing with a recent injury. Hampton suffered an ankle injury during the game against the Texans, and initial diagnoses indicated that the problem was not serious. As a precaution, he was rested for the Week 18 game against the Broncos, a decision that, at the time, did not cause great concern as the Chargers opted to preserve several starters. However, now, with the playoffs approaching and a series of missed practices, the situation has begun to generate much greater apprehension within the organization. At this moment, Hampton has only one more opportunity to show any kind of progress: Friday's practice. Even limited participation would be seen as an important step in the right direction and could keep alive the hope of seeing him on the field on Sunday night. If he is sidelined again, his presence in the wild card game against the New England Patriots will be seriously in doubt, and the coaching staff will have to adjust the offensive plan at the last minute. Given this scenario, the Chargers are already working with a well-defined alternative plan. If Hampton is unable to play or has limited participation, Kimani Vidal will once again assume the role of the team's primary running back. And the numbers show that this wouldn't be a gamble. Whenever Hampton has been absent, Vidal has risen to the occasion with solid and consistent performances. He rushed 18 times for 124 yards against the Dolphins, had 23 carries for 117 yards against the Vikings, and also recorded 25 carries for 126 yards against the Raiders. And now I want to know from you, Chargers Nation. After all this, what happens this Sunday could change everything. The fate of the season, the coaching staff, and even Justin Herbert's future. If you've made it this far, it's because you're a true fan and want to stay up to date on every detail of the Los Angeles Chargers. So leave your like now, because it greatly helps the channel continue bringing exclusive content, in-depth analysis, and quality information to the fans. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, because this week promises lots of excitement.